G'day and welcome to this week's FRiBaT, Friday Beers and Tools with Andy. Well, we've got another Tasmanian beer to try today, and this one's from the Little Rivers Brewing Company. And this is their 23 Stitches Pale Ale. What do they have to say about it? As refreshing and daring as the ride itself, our Pale Ale is like the Blue Derby Trail it's named after. Cascade hops bring out the floral aromas that finish with a citrus kick. They're talking about mountain bike trails here in Tasmania, which there are a lot of. It's become very, very popular in this state. So they've named some of their beers after some of those trails. Happy Friday. Oh, that's a winner. Those that have been watching for a while know that I love a good pale ale. That's a good pale ale. Really nice balance of fruitiness and no bitterness whatsoever. Just a nice hoppy flavour. That's a 4.5 spanners out of 5 for me. That's terrific. Oh yeah, Little Rivers Brewing Company, your 23 Stitches gets a thumbs up from me. Toolaholic Approved. All right. This week we have another Amazon tool, and this is a very handy laser measuring device. And I bought this because when we had our kitchen measured up recently by a professional, because of course I'd already measured it up, but the professionals have to measure it up as well. Out pops the fellow with his laser measurer. And my wife looks at that and says, "Have you got one of those?" And I went, "No, I don't." She said, "Well, you better get one." So I got one. There are a number of name brand ones on the market that are quite expensive. This one from Amazon is a GRAYZBILDZ brand, obviously Chinese, but it has a lot of features that the more expensive ones have, and it was $49.99 delivered to my door. This is the GRAYZBILDZ 40 meter version, and according to this, although it doesn't really talk about it on the Amazon ad at all, there are a number of other check boxes here: 60, 80, 120 meter, 50, 70, 100 meter. This is the 40 meter or 131 feet. And so what does a laser distance measurer do? Well, inside the pack comes with a very nice little sort of a faux something cover, and this is the unit. This has a class 2 laser, so they are quite safe. You still don't want to stick it in your eye though, and it turns on with the on button, and that gives you that display. And then you have a number of whether I can show this, I might need to put some screen prints up. Okay, so I'll put some screenshots up of the various different screens that it's capable of doing up here, and let's talk about what it does. So the GRAYZBILDZ electronic distance measure is convenient to engineering, survey and house design and decoration, and shed building. Very important for shed building, especially internal walls, which I'll hopefully get to do once I've built this damn kitchen. It's faster and simpler to get the measurement results than with a traditional tape measure. You can get results quickly in 0.5 of a second. Accuracy is up to plus or minus 1/16 of an inch. Funny how they talk about metric and imperial, and that is switchable in the unit as well. And of course in Australia we use the metric system. Units can be switched, measured at multiple measurement modes. The laser distance meter supports to single distance, area, volume and length, and continuous measurement, Pythagorean, automatic addition and subtraction, so you can choose the required measurement modes according to your actual needs. Low battery indication, 20 group data memory function, and auto shutdown after 180 seconds without any operation. It has a 1.6 inch backlit screen, and provides better visibility in dark areas with large fonts, particularly handy for old fellas like me, to help you read the data more easily. And this electric distance measure with mute setting function allows you to turn on or off the room laser measure beep at your will, suitable for measuring in hospital, library and other quiet places. Our laser measurement tool is safe, level class 2 and laser tape of 135 nanometers at less than 1 milliwatt. So very, very low power laser. It doesn't actually tell me the distance that it, of course, up to 40 meters or 131 feet. So a very handy little device to add to your toolkit, especially if you're doing any renovations in the home or if you're building walls in your shed. It does come with, from memory, 2 AAA batteries. They come with the unit, and of course they're standard Chinese ones, so they may not last particularly long, but that's okay. It does have a caution radiation. Do not stare into the laser beam at the end. You should always do that with lasers. Don't look directly into the end when you're... one other function that I would like to point out is, it's quite hard to show on the camera, it does have a sight bubble glass for both this direction and this direction across the top. So particularly handy to get the unit level when you are measuring. And as it says, it does actually do all of the area, volume, etc. Calculations for you. So you can measure one wall, and then do a volume calculation or an area calculation if it's a square room, and it will also do triangular rooms and things like that. Particularly handy. $49.99 delivered. It is an expensive tape measure if that's the case. However, it is a particularly handy addition to your toolkit. There are a few probably slightly cheaper ones out there. The higher level ones of these range up to $72.99, which is probably, just quickly check that one, that is 393 foot laser, and that currently is $72.99 with a 15% voucher. So that would bring it down to, and it just turned off after 180 seconds. So with a 15% off voucher at the moment on Amazon, that brings it down to $62.04. So if you need much larger distances, 40 meters is more than adequate for me. So at $49, $50, it's pretty good value at that. But if you need a much larger, more powerful one, $62.04 delivered, which is quite impressive. All right, let's talk functionality. It is impressive that it's got all of the calculation functions already built into it. A lot of the higher end name brand ones, Stanley, etc., have that, but you're paying a lot more money, at least in Australia, and some of those are well over $100. So for value for money, for $50, I think it's really good value for money, and so therefore I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5 beers for value. For functionality, I've used it a few times now. Obviously I haven't learnt about all of its functions, all of the calculation functions yet, but the fact that it does them is pretty impressive for me. So for functionality, I'm also going to give it a 5 out of 5 beers. That's impressive. All right, well, that's it for this week's FRiBaT. I hope you had a great new year where you are in the world, and 2023 is looking bright and beautiful. It certainly is looking great from my perspective. So here's cheers to another year together, and hopefully on to bigger and better things. See you next week.